Let's break down tariffs, those mysterious taxes on imported goods that seem to pop up in the news every time there's a trade dispute or a new government policy. You might have heard politicians, business leaders, or even your neighbor talking about them, but what do tariffs actually do, and why do they matter so much? At their core, tariffs are simply fees that governments place on products coming in from other countries. When a cargo ship full of goods arrives at a port, those goods might be taxed before they ever hit the shelves. The idea is to make imported products more expensive, so that local alternatives look more appealing to shoppers. The US government under President Trump used tariffs as a tool to try to shift the balance of trade. By making foreign products pricier, the hope was that Americans would buy more goods made right here at home, supporting local factories and workers. Think of it as a cover charge for every imported can of beans, TV, or even a pair of sneakers. Every time you pick up something that was made overseas, there's a good chance a tariff has been added to its price. The administration's goal? Protect American jobs and industries, using tariffs as leverage in high-stakes trade negotiations. The idea is that if foreign companies have to pay more to sell their goods here, American businesses can compete more easily, and workers might keep their jobs. But here's where things get complicated. The global economy is a tangled web. A single can of soup might involve steel from Canada, tomatoes from Mexico, and labels from Vietnam. Products aren't just made in one place anymore. They're assembled from parts and ingredients that come from all over the world. So when a tariff is slapped on just one part of that process, say, the steel for the can, it can disrupt the entire supply chain. Suddenly the cost of making that can of soup goes up, and those higher costs ripple all the way down to your local store. And when importers and manufacturers pay more, they don't just absorb those costs, they pass them along to you, the consumer. That's why you might notice your grocery bill creeping up, or why electronics and appliances seem a little pricier than before. So, while America First sounds patriotic and straightforward, the reality is that tariffs often mean higher prices for everyday Americans. It's a trade-off, protecting some jobs and industries, but making life a bit more expensive for everyone else. The real story of tariffs isn't just about politics or international negotiations, it's about what you pay at the checkout, and how those extra costs can add up over time, affecting families and businesses across the country. And that's where our journey begins, unpacking the real impact of tariffs, one shopping trip at a time. Enter Walmart, the king of low prices, built on a global supply chain. About a third of Walmart's products come from outside the US, making them vulnerable to tariffs. When tariffs hit, it's not just luxury goods, it's basics like canned food, electronics, and clothing. Walmart can't just switch suppliers overnight, shifting production is slow and costly. Every new tariff sends shockwaves through their operations, threatening their low-price promise. The result? Essentials that millions rely on get more expensive. It's a collision between always low prices and America First. As tariffs loom, Walmart's global supply chain starts to look less like a strength and more like a ticking time bomb. And the fallout lands right in your shopping cart. Walmart isn't staying quiet. They're warning everyone. Tariffs mean higher prices, and the impact will be felt in every aisle. The world's largest retailer is sounding the alarm. And it's not just a corporate statement, it's a wake-up call for millions of Americans who rely on Walmart for affordable essentials. In early 2025, their CFO publicly admitted the company can't escape the impact of the trade war. For the first time, Walmart's leadership is openly acknowledging that the ripple effects of tariffs are too big to absorb or ignore. The message is clear: even a retail giant with global reach is vulnerable. Wall Street took notice, and so did shoppers. Investors watched Walmart's stock closely, bracing for volatility, while everyday customers started to worry about their weekly grocery bills. Walmart says price hikes are inevitable, especially for goods like canned foods and household basics. Items that families depend on most, like cleaning supplies, pantry staples, and baby products, are all at risk of becoming more expensive. They're pressuring suppliers, pushing private label brands, and scrambling to shift supply chains, but there's only so much they can do. Walmart is working overtime to find new sources and negotiate better deals, but the scale of the challenge is unprecedented. The uncertainty is so great, Walmart hasn't even factored new tariffs into its forecasts. Executives admit they're flying blind, unable to predict how deep the impact will go or how long it will last. Trade negotiations keep shifting, making it impossible to plan. Every new headline or policy change sends shockwaves through Walmart's global network, forcing last-minute adjustments and constant vigilance. If even Walmart can't hold the line on prices, it's a warning for the entire retail sector. Smaller retailers with fewer resources may struggle even more to keep their doors open and shelves stocked. The message is clear. The era of rock-bottom prices is under threat. Shoppers are already noticing fewer deals, higher price tags, and less certainty about what their money can buy. And if Walmart can't shield you, who can? For families living paycheck to paycheck, these changes could mean tough choices at the checkout. The stakes are high, and the outcome affects every American shopper. From rural towns to big cities, the consequences of rising prices will ripple through every community. The alarm bells are ringing, and this time, everyone needs to listen. Tariffs aren't just theory, they're hitting Americans' wallets now. Prices for essentials like toys and appliances are rising faster than inflation. Consumer confidence is dropping, with tariffs and inflation topping the list of worries. The Federal Reserve expects these price hikes to show up in the data soon. Companies are passing costs to customers. It's just business. The result? Your paycheck doesn't go as far, and everyday items cost more. The promise of America First is colliding with the reality of a global economy. For many, the low prices they depend on are slipping away. Here's the twist. While Americans brace for higher prices, Canadians could see a shopping boom. When U.S. tariffs make imports expensive, global suppliers look to Canada as their next big market. Canadian retailers may score deals on goods that are now too pricey for U.S. stores. This could mean lower prices and more choices for Canadian shoppers. After the U.S. doubled tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, Canada threatened its own retaliatory tariffs, opening the door for even more global goods. The result? Canada could become a bargain hunter's paradise while Americans pay more. We might even see Americans crossing the border to shop for cheaper goods. It's an upside-down world. Tariffs meant to help the U.S. could end up boosting Canada's consumer market. The ripple effects of trade policy are full of surprises. Sometimes the winners aren't who you'd expect. Picture this. Susan, a regular shopper in Buffalo, New York, heads out for her weekly grocery run. She's on the hunt for everyday essentials, hoping to stick to her budget despite recent price hikes. Just a few miles north, across the border, David is doing the same in Niagara Falls, Ontario. Both are looking for similar items: microwaves, canned corn, towels, and more. But their experiences couldn't be more different. Susan is shocked to see that prices on her favorite brands have soared. Tariffs imposed on imported goods have driven up costs, making even basic products feel like luxury items. She hesitates, double-checking her list, and wonders what she'll have to leave behind this week. Meanwhile, David is pleasantly surprised. Sale signs and discounts are everywhere, and he's able to fill his cart without worrying about overspending. The same products Susan struggles to afford are now more accessible to him. Why? Global suppliers facing barriers in the U.S. are redirecting their inventory to Canada, flooding Canadian shelves with goods and keeping prices low. Canadian stores are well stocked, and shoppers like David benefit from the increased competition. Canadian goods, untouched by U.S. tariffs, remain affordable and plentiful. The result? Susan leaves the store frustrated and empty-handed while David walks out thrilled with his savings and full shopping bags. This tale of two shopping carts perfectly illustrates how tariffs are creating two very different realities for everyday people on either side of the border. In the U.S., business owners and store managers scramble to manage rising costs, facing tough decisions about what to stock and how to keep customers coming back. As prices climb, consumer confidence drops. Families cut back, and once busy shopping centers see fewer visitors. In Canada, retailers are in a stronger position. They negotiate better deals with suppliers eager to move inventory, passing savings on to shoppers. The result? Canadian shoppers enjoy more choices, lower prices, and a sense of abundance that feels out of reach for their American neighbors. The contrast is stark. One country faces the pain and frustration of tariffs, while the other reaps unexpected benefits from global trade shifts. It's a striking example of how policy decisions ripple through economies, changing lives in ways most people never see coming. Economists are watching closely, calling it a real-time experiment in global economics, with lessons for countries everywhere. The consequences are playing out in every shopping aisle, affecting families, businesses, and entire communities. And as the divide between the US and Canada grows, the story of Susan and David becomes a powerful reminder of how interconnected and unpredictable our global economy truly is. Business leaders aren't mincing words. Tariffs are a major threat. Walmart's CFO has warned of rising costs, and he's not alone. Companies like General Mills and FedEx are reporting squeezed profits due to tariffs. Suppliers like Pacific Coast producers expect significant cost increases for basic materials. Economic experts predict stagflation, slow growth, and high inflation. JP Morgan has slashed its US growth forecast and warns of a possible recession, blaming trade disputes. In Canada, leaders are bracing for impact but see a possible consumer boom as global goods flood in. The message from the top tariffs are reshaping economies, and the fallout is real. The divide between US and Canadian outlooks couldn't be clearer. Walmart's struggles are just the tip of the iceberg. Small businesses feel the pain even more. They can't negotiate better deals or shift suppliers easily. When their costs go up, they have no choice but to raise prices or risk going under. Tariffs ripple through supply chains, affecting jobs in industries like autos, where US manufacturers rely on foreign parts. The trade war isn't just a North American issue, it's global, with Europe, China, and India all caught in the crossfire. Uncertainty makes businesses hesitant to invest or hire, chilling the economy. The result? Fewer job opportunities and more financial stress for families. What starts as a tariff on steel ends with layoffs and higher prices in your hometown. In a connected world, no policy is isolated. The impact is everywhere. We're living through a global economic experiment. Tariffs meant to help American workers are raising prices for everyone. The promise of America First is clashing with the reality of higher costs at the store. Walmart's warnings are real. When import costs rise, so do your bills. Meanwhile, Canada could see a consumer boom as global goods flow north. The tale of two shopping carts sums it up. One country pays more, the other gets a bargain. Watch for key dates: July 9th for tariff negotiations, and July 31st as the Supreme Court weighs in. For now, pay attention to prices, trade news, and what business leaders are saying. Because this isn't just about politics, it's about your wallet. The cost of your next shopping trip is being decided on the world stage, and the story is far from over.